Hey guys, welcome once again to the brand new installment of the Visual Vapor Reviews. Today is Topic Tuesday, and we're going to be talking about the advantages of integrated and removable vape batteries. As I mentioned before on Facebook, and what we're going to be doing. I've also posted a link to the these videos and the YouTube channel on the new new Vapresso Power Users page that I am a member of now, as well as my original Visual Vapor Reviews Facebook page. So we've been working on some stuff lately. Got a bunch of new emails. Finally, my Power Users program application was approved, and I have been accepted into the program. So today we're going to go about business as usual. Today's Tuesday, and I don't work until Friday, so we've got a few good videos to do. And I said in my last video that I was going to be getting some new flavors, which I have. I've gotten some brand new flavors and one brand new special one that sadly I already ran out of and used it already. It's still in my tank, but I used the very last of it to fill up my tank, which was the bubblegum flavor by Premium E-Liquids. It was just a 10 milliliter bottle, but it was still a good flavor nonetheless. I got it in here right now on my Limitless. I filled up half a squonk bottle with the bubble gum, and then I filled up the other half of the squonk bottle with my fruit punch mix. So it's a fruit punch bubble gum mix, and it tastes really good on my squonka. Definitely packs a punch though. Holy moly. But some of the newer flavors you can look forward to seeing me vape on later are from ECG and Dr. K. This is Banana Split. As you guys can see, 0 milligrams. Banana Split ECG. We got Fruit Punch E-Liquid ECG. And of course, we've got my Menthol by Dr. K. So really looking forward to vaping on those. I've got 10 different bottles right now, and they're pretty much all multiples of the same thing. I like my flavors a certain way, so we'll go right into the topic in just a minute. So, how was your guys' Christmas get-togethers, assuming you had yours a little bit earlier than Christmas with your families, because some of them do have to travel, admittedly. So, if your family travels, or extensions of your family travel and you're not able to visit them for Christmas and you have a get-together beforehand, how did it go? Be sure to leave your comments down in the crotch box. Alright, so today we are talking about the advantages of integrated and removable vape batteries. So, let's go with how we usually do it. This is from the Mist Hub, misthub.com/blog/vape news/ the title, the advantages of integrated removable vape batteries . So it was published on March 9th of 2017. Let's go with So this is directly published by the Mist Hub. Let's go right into the beginning of the topic, and we'll read it out, and it goes into subtopics that base it down. So I'll get my last vape in for the afternoon in the topic, and then we'll get right to it. Hold on, got to clean off a little bit of excess juice that was pooling around the bottom of this thing. Hold on, let's get my paper towel for this thing. Just a sec, guys. This doesn't usually happen. I don't usually have leaking problems from this thing, but guess I do today. Whatever. Alright. So, let's get one last vape off this thing, and then we'll get right into the topic. Flavor for days. Alright. So, So, one of the reasons why vaping is so popular is that it gives you lots of cool gear to get excited about. With new mods and all the latest technological features, state-of-the-art atomizers, or the most delicious new artisan liquid, they are all products that generate huge enthusiasm among the user community. But what about their batteries? Well, for most vapors, batteries get a lot of attention. Experienced users of mechanical mods and high-powered regulated devices are an exception, though. But the average vapor isn't interested in what powers their e-cig. This isn't hard to understand. If you buy anything else powered by batteries, all you really need to know is the size it takes. If your flashlight uses AA cells or any more than any AA cell powers will do it. Vape batteries are a little more complicated than a flashlight. Vape batteries are a bit more complicated. It's important to get the right ones for your gear. Making a mistake can seriously affect performance or even ruin the device. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't realize the importance of choosing the correct batteries. E-cigarette batteries come in two main types: integrated and removable. They both have their strengths, but they tend to suit different types of vapors. Just to make it more confusing, there's a huge variety of both styles, and here's an overview. Integrated batteries. The simplest power source for an e-cigarette is a device that combines the battery, circuitry, controls, and atomizer connection into a single unit. As long as you charge them properly, there's basically no way these can go wrong. The simplest integrated batteries are the eGo or eVod styles. These are the main parts of what often called a vape pen, or with an atomizer on top, and they're about the same size as a pen or laser pointer. Most of them recharge by removing the atomizer and screwing the charging cable to the connector, but some have a USB port you can charge while vaping. Vape pens batteries are really easy to use and ideal for new vapors. They do have limits though. Most of them don't let you adjust the power level and their storage capacity is low. So if you choose this style, it's the best to get 2 or 3 of them. That way you can always have one charging, so you'll never find yourself without power. You can also get more sophisticated devices with integrated batteries, starting with compact devices like SmokTech, Innokin iTaste, or eLeaf iJust. It's then going all the way up to advanced mods with variable power and temperature control. These are ideal for more experienced vapors, and you can use them with any sort of atomizer, whereas pen styles are the best with clearmizers. Mods with built-in batteries can store a lot more power than a vape pen, usually enough to last you a full day. You can also recharge them with a USB cable while you vape. Once the battery dies, they take a while to recharge though. So it's usually best to charge it fully overnight and then use it during the day and then plug it in during the night. That's what I do with all my vapes. And usually it's pretty easy to gauge how much you use with how soon the battery's going to die. I could vape this all day, and whenever I'm not using it at home, I put it on the charger when I'm done with it. That way it's fully charged throughout the day. And when I'm done with it, I'll put it right back on the charger until it fully charges, and I probably won't use it once the battery goes down to a certain level. And when I'm at home, this battery will stay fully charged throughout the day, and if I go anywhere, it's fully charged. That way, if I don't have the charger with me, I can just vape it until it goes down to the second to last battery level, because there's 5 battery pieces on each wheel. So that makes for a total of 10 battery cells. That means that when I'm using it, I usually wait till it gets down till about the last 4 battery cells. That's 2 on each side. And that means when that gets down to the last 2 battery cells, I know that if I use it to the last battery cell on each side, it will take a lot longer to charge. I'll find myself using it till it gets to about 3 cells before the end of the battery on either side, before I actually start charging it. Or if I'm using it during the day, when I'm out and about, that's when I'll stop using it. And that's when I'll usually switch over to my Squonk box, which, because it has 2 batteries, it only uses 1 at a time. I always have a spare battery to use it in case it switches over. And when I'm done with this battery, I'll switch it to the fresh battery that I charged last night and charge this one up when I get home and just use that one until it's time to charge it for the next day. Alright, removable batteries. This is where stuff like this comes in. This is a removable battery. This is a removable battery mod, and I can actually show you the difference between an integrated battery and an external removable battery. So, this is an integrated battery. There is no access to the actual battery. Hold up. This is the battery part right here. This is the cartomizer. Nothing special, nothing huge. This is just a lithium-ion rechargeable battery. And this is just my example. I don't use this. It doesn't work anyway. So this is an integrated battery mod, and this is an external removable battery. I'll pull it out real quick so you guys can see. See? External batteries. These are 2700 size, and they run up to about 3000 mAh, or 3000 milliamp hours. So, turns it on. I'm going to turn off my lights. There we go. Alright, removable batteries. The option that gives you the most flexibility is a mod with removable batteries. If you're going out, all you have to do is put a spare set of batteries in a case and take them with you. That way, if you start to run low on power, you can just take out the spent batteries, replace them with the fully charged spares, and carry on vaping. You get all the advanced features of a mod without having to rely on being near a charging outlet. However, using removable batteries does mean that you need to get the right ones. A few years ago, most mods used lithium-ion batteries in a variety of different sizes, but now the industry has mostly standardized on the 18650 size. This looks like an overgrown AA batteries, as I've said before, and it delivers 4.2 volts at a full charge, and the two of them will hold enough power to last the average vapor for at least a day. Using 18650s makes a lot of sense, but you do need to know that something about them. They might look like a bigger version of a AA cell, but they're not as simple. For a start, they pack a lot more energy, and they aren't as interchangeable. Any AA size will fill a AA size slot, but using the wrong 18650 could damage your device. Making the right choice. Unless mech mods are best left to the more advanced vapors and with more experience with the technology, unless you have a good understanding of Ohm's law and battery safety. Mech mods are an accident waiting to happen. If you do use one, never stack more than one battery and only fit a protected battery in. These have onboard control circuitry that compensates for the mod's lack of safety features. Also, make sure that the mod can handle a high current drain. For mechs, you need a battery that can deliver at least 25 amperes. For regulated mods, that basically means anything with a screen and adjustment buttons. You're fine to use unprotected batteries. They usually give you a bit more energy capacity because no space is taken up by a circuit board. Modern regulated mods can deliver a very high power, and again, it's best to use batteries that are rated at 25 amps or better, much like this. This has a lot of onboard protective circuitry that prevents it from overheating or short-circuiting. So, normally, you'd think to yourself that with mech mods, basically what it's saying is, say you have a battery and you have your minus and your plus. Here it says plus goes down, minus faces down. Here and here, plus down, minus down. Now, this is the minus side and this is the plus side. That means, so you take these like this, plus up, minus down. So it'd be like this. Place them in, make sure that the minus is down on the right side, and make sure that the plus is down on the right side. Now, say if I were to switch these like this. So the plus is down and the minus is up. Minus is down. And I go to put this in. In a mech mod, that would spell trouble because it would short circuit immediately because it's not making the right connections. With this, you have a lot of protection, meaning this thing won't fire no matter what you do. No connection, tons of protection. So I'll switch these back. You saw that it wouldn't fire when I put them in that way, backwards. Here it is, and it turns on correctly. Even if you put the batteries in wrong on a regulated device with all these protections, you will notice immediately that this has enough of the protections in it to prevent it from overcharging or over discharging. When it gets down to that last power supply, it'll turn off and say battery low. This has a lot of protections in that it has short circuit protection, so it won't short circuit. It has overcharge and over discharge protection, meaning I could charge this all night, and even if it's fully charged by the time I'm done with it, it will still be protected and won't ruin the batteries. And if I use this till it's fully dead, it won't kill my batteries completely. Now, For regulated mods, this basically means anything with a screen and adjustment batteries. You're fine to use unprotected batteries with regulated mods, but if you use a mod that takes 2 or more batteries, you shouldn't marry your battery sets. And that means making up a set of identical batteries. Never mix old or new batteries with different types, and only use them in that mod. Although vape batteries aren't as shiny as the mods or the atomizers, they're one place you should never try to save money. Cheap no-name batteries won't perform well and might be unsafe. There's no guarantee their real performance matches what's printed on the label. Stick to major brands like Sony, Samsung, Panasonic, or LG, or even Radio Shack. Always buy them from a reputable dealer like MistHub too. There are many cases of cheap batteries being rewrapped to look like premium ones. If an eBay seller looks too good to be true, they probably are. So, I think we have enough time to cover 2 kinds of topics today. And I really think that because it's kind of an important thing to touch on today, besides the integrate and removable vape batteries, I think it's an important thing to touch on for when you're starting vaping. So we'll start that topic in just a moment. So what we want to take away from this is, while batteries may not be as good looking as the mod you're puffing on, they're still an important and integral part of vaping, and they really decide the performance of your batteries. So, the performance of your mod. So choosing the right battery, while it may seem like a hassle, it is definitely the way to go, because you never ever want to skimp out on your mod. You want it to perform the best for you in the way you're used to vaping. So you got to take the time to invest and look for the kind of battery that'll put out that performance for the amount of time. I've had these batteries for almost a year now, and I have changed them once to new batteries. I have my old spare that I threw away a while ago, and I now have the iJoy batteries that are specific to iJoy products, and they work really well for me. So basically, what you want to take away from this, as I said before, was that what you want to do is what you want to take away from it is that batteries are one of the most important things about your mods, and choosing the right one can always lead to the best performance that you're used to. So, the next part of the topic that we're going to touch on are what are nicotine salts, a beginner's guide to salt e-liquid. And we'll get right into that in just a second. So, let's get into this topic right away. So, just gotta wait for it to load up a little bit. Come on. This is also a topic published by the MistHub, and it was published on, as soon as it loads up. So, it was published on February 26th of 2018, and it was also written by the MistHub. So, what are nic salts? It's a beginner's guide to salt e-liquid. So we'll get right into that in just a second. And I want to take this time to thank you all for listening to that topic of integrated and external vape batteries. It was a very good topic, and I got to give pros and basic credit where credit is due to the MistHub. They really provide me with a lot of topics to talk about, and give you, at the end of the video, I'll tell you about what topic we're going to be talking about next. Okay. So, like almost any technology, trend, or hobby, vaping has very basic roots. We've come a long way since the days of cheap gas stations, cigalikes, and vape pens that were feeding us crude, PG-laden e-liquids. However, being bigger isn't always better. Sure, a lot of us love the feeling of flavor and cloud production of a high VGE juice and a sub-ohm tank. But for those of us that are only interested in the nicotine consumption, using a high VG-based e-liquids is kind of like owning a Ferrari, flashy for most, but not practical for all. Virtually everyone that vapes started vaping as a means of quitting smoking. Graduating to the big leagues of 100-watt devices and 5 ml tanks should be a choice, not a necessity. Sadly, this means that people who prefer a smaller, cheaper, and more discreet vaporizer will have to settle for a vape pen that is unpleasant overall, or fork over tons of cash and navigate a tiny supercomputer. Nicotine salts, however, seem to be a magic solution. The veritable penicillin to cure some of the ailing vapors out there. Hold on just a second, because I'm deathly allergic to penicillin, so let's not go there. It's basically saying it's the antidote to our ailment. There we go. Because me and my dad are both deathly allergic to penicillin. One, not even a single drop of that stuff, and we'll be pushing up daisies. So, that being said, let's have a look at this brand new innovation and see where and who it fits in the vaping world. Popular pod devices, the Juul Starter Kit, Sorin Drop Starter Kit, Sorin Air, and Air Breeze 2, all-in-one starter kit, use stuff like, use nic salts. So, freebase nicotine, the current standard. There's a fundamental difference between the conventional freebase nicotine that we use in our e-liquids and the newer nic salts that have been quickly making headlines. It is this difference that not only classifies it separately, but also creates an entirely new experience. To better understand what salts are, let's compare them to their big brother, freebase nicotine, without getting too technical. Freebase nicotine is the purest form of nicotine and is the default go-to for most manufacturers. This nicotine solution is simply added to the mixture of vegetable glycerin and propylene glycol, which carry the nicotine with them when vaporized or vaped. It is also what we use when in nicotine replacement therapies like gums, patches, sprays, and lozenges. Furthermore, freebase from the norm in cigarettes for decades, thanks to Philip Morris of Marlboro back in the 1960s. He found that freebasing nicotine paired with ammonia delivered a significantly larger amount of nicotine, which did wonders for keeping customers hooked. Since we're trying to offer an effective nicotine replacement in vape juices, it only makes sense that we use the best form available, freebasing. Which that makes sense. Of course, if you're using vaporizers or e-cigarettes as a way to trade off cigarettes and eventually transition and make it easier to cut back on them and eventually quit, you'd want something that's as close to a cigarette as possible, which is why so many people go for those e-cigarettes like this one, the Carré, or stuff like Mach 10. Pretty simple. You don't see something like this when you're just transitioning over from cigarettes. So we've established that freebase nicotine is nicotine at its purest and no hidden chemicals on the side. If that's the case, then why would vapors want something that's not as inherently effective, like Philip Morris's little freebase trick? The answer can be found in chemistry, and a lot of people are probably internally groaning at this point where they're going, ugh, chemistry. I just graduated from high school. Why do I want to be learning more? Well, I'll tell ya. You learn a lot more about stuff like this in vaping and chemistry and electricity and everything else than you will ever learn in school. Vaping teaches you a lot, and I have learned a lot from it. So, what are nicotine salts? At its core, nicotine salts are comprised of the exact same nicotine that is found in its natural state within the tobacco leaf. If this form of nicotine was added to the liquid that we vape, we'd need to vape it at extremely high temperatures for the nicotine solution to be effective, and it still wouldn't be easily absorbed or bioavailable as freebase nicotine. Similarly, like freebase, salts need some modification too. The key here is benzoic acid, which kind of would make some people kind of like flinch or back up, because benzoic acid is a way of breaking down a chemical. It allows it to become aerolized, or similar to that of an aerosol, but benzoic acid breaks it down and makes it easier to break it down. Acid, as a lot of people who understand basic chemistry would know, that acid breaks down molecules, while in this case pH balance with acidity and what's the word? Sorry, basically the opposite of an acid. An acid keeps things the opposite of an acid keeps things together, while an acid itself breaks it down and makes it easier to break down. So we'll go into a quick chemistry lesson real quick. Don't worry about it. It's nothing huge. It's really easy, and if you don't understand it, we'll try and break it down and make it really easy for you guys. So we won't try to overwhelm you with too much jargon, so let's try and stick with the basics. pH and alkalinity. Alkalinity is basically if it's pH balanced or alkaline. So free base nicotine has a higher pH, which means it leads to increased alkalinity. This dramatic increase in alkaline causes a harsher throat hit, meaning, let's see if the best way I can describe it, and it will sound a little gross. If you've ever thrown up a little bit in your throat and then all right here just burns like crazy, that's basically an alkaline, because in your stomach there are many acids that break down the food that you eat. Well, when you throw up a little bit, that acid burns around the inside of your esophagus because it's breaking down the mucous membrane. So because everything from your esophagus down is coated in mucus, whether you want to admit it or not, it is covered in a spit-like form called mucus. So when you throw up a little bit, the acids in your stomach eat away that mucus. Same thing with benzoic acid. Benzoic acid causes that burning or throat hit sensation in the back of your throat, and that's what is needed to give you not the benzoic acid, an acid in general gives you that throat hit. So as we were saying, an increase in alkaline causes a harsher throat hit, thus causing people to vape at smaller amounts than they may need. And that's the point we're looking for with smokers. When people are trying to quit smoking, they don't want to vape nearly as much as they have smoked. So they're looking for something that will deter them from vaping as much. When I get a vape liquid that has a higher or harsher throat hit, then I don't vape nearly as much. But if I have something like this, which is my banana split, it's not that much of a throat hit, it's really easy to vape, and I enjoy it a lot. And you don't see me like at all. You don't see me cough or splutter. It's a really good flavor, and I don't have to worry about knowing that it's going to hit the back of my throat, and I'm going to be like, Benzoic acid has the opposite effect. It lowers the pH levels of nicotine, reducing alkalinity in the process, and the end result is a much smoother vaping experience. Furthermore, this allows the mixture to be vaped at lower temperatures in cheap vape pens and cigalikes with higher concentrations of nicotine. For instance, vape juices mixed with nicotine salts, while less potent, can reach nicotine levels as high as 50 milligrams. Try vaping something like that in your traditional sub-ohm tank PG mixture and let us know when your lungs stop burning. Because it's a fact. I have a little story time experience with that one. The first time I started vaping, really started vaping, it was just after I had gotten my Vapin Plus pen from Rite Aid. I just turned 18, and the first thing I wanted to do was pick up that vape pen from Rite Aid. It was a $20, really easy, simple vaporizer. And it was just the funniest thing. It used a regular ceramic heating coil with small amounts of cotton at the bottom. And dummy me wanted some cheap e-liquid. Okay, so I thought to myself, what flavors do I like? Well, I like Coca-Cola. I like all sorts of different flavors. And he says, so I walk into the vape store, and it was right across the street. And it was when this place was open. It was X-Smoke Vape Smart, and it's in Concord now, but it was here in Hillsborough for a while. And I walked in there, and there's this guy behind the counter, and it was just kind of funny because I thought I was the big shot. I had just gotten myself a vape pen. I was really cooking with gas. So I walk into the vape shop all like, yo, I just got this new mod. Hey, I need some juice. And I said to him, what's the best stuff you got that's really cheap? This is how much money I have to spend on vape juice, and this is what I need. And he goes, well, there's Coca-Cola, and he handed me a bunch of discount flavors, and I said, well, what's the best one? And he says, personally, I'd recommend this Coca-Cola flavor, and it's I didn't know about 0 milligram nicotine back then. The first flavor I got, I said, well, what's its strength? 36 milligrams. Now, to any vapor, they just backfire. They just literally went, Any vapor experienced or otherwise knows that that's a lot of nicotine. Me, I'm a dummy. I didn't know. I had no idea. So I said, all right, that sounds pretty awesome. I picked it up thinking that, okay, I just made a sweet deal. Got a very low nicotine product. Wouldn't worry about it, and I just tell my mom that it didn't have any nicotine in it. And so I pick up the vape pen and I unscrew it and I put it in there. I fill this tank all the way to the top. I wait about 5 minutes as usual. I waited 5 to 10 minutes for it to wick up. And to anyone that knows what Coca-Cola flavors taste like, they try to incorporate the burn or the spice of carbonation, that tingling in the back of your throat. And anyone who vapes with high amounts of nicotine knows that it causes a very harsh throat hit. Now imagine combining those two together. I put that vaporizer to my mouth and I pushed the fire switch and inhaled like I had never inhaled before, expecting I was going to rip a sick cloud. The result was the Cinnamon Challenge on overdrive. It was the worst feeling I had ever encountered. And it was just... I had the worst buzz and I had to sit down. I was like, is that a couch over there? Can I sit down for a little bit? And he's like, yep. And I asked him and he said, nope, all e-liquid sales are final. Vape products? Sure, those can be returned. Vape liquids, once they're opened and used, can't return them, so you're stuck with them. So I ended up selling it to a friend of mine and getting my money back and going back the next day all pissed off and picking up some regular 1 to 0 milligram e-liquid, and I was just like, oh my god, I didn't vape for a solid 2 days after that. I was so miffed. I would take these tiny little primer puffs just to try and enjoy my vape flavor without dying. One puff of that and I was done. So, yeah, you try vaping a 50 milligram in your traditional sub-ohm tank PG mixture and let us know when your lungs stop burning. So the advantages and disadvantages. Nicotine salts have pros and cons, however, that would seem to be a disadvantage to some and will in fact be an advantage to others. Let's explain what we mean. Advantages. We have the satisfaction many vapors who try conventional liquids for the first time and often find they don't get the same satisfaction or punch from their nicotine. What's more, it may not be enough to satisfy their cravings. Smoother nicotine hit is a huge turnoff for many would-be vapors, is that conventional e-liquids are too harsh and nicotine is to blame. Cigarette companies use anesthetics like menthol or Unijol to cover up or mask the harshness. Vape juices don't, so the smoother feeling of nicotine salt liquids makes a huge difference. Less flavor impact. Those of us who kicked the habit and prefer nicotine-free e-liquids may notice a marked difference in flavor. Despite smoking the same product, this is because freebase nicotine affects the liquid's overall flavor. Salts have next to no effect in this area, leading to a richer, flavorful, and more enjoyable vaping experience. It's also cheaper. Let's face it, an efficient sub-ohm tank or box mod is significantly more expensive than a tiny little vape pen, as well as the many premium e-liquids that go into the vape pen. If all you need is an inexpensive and discreet vaping experience that helps you get the right amount of nicotine, then salts are for you. It has disadvantages, though. Too much for some. While heavy smokers need a heavy dose of nicotine, light smokers can make do in the 3 to 12 milligram nicotine range. This also happens to be the ultimate sweet spot for sub-ohm devices. As a result, people can use smooth, high VGE juices in their sub-ohm tank and feel completely content with the experience they get. But it has fewer options. Nicotine salts are limiting because you generally have to stick to vape pens and few pods like Juul replacement pods. With the more traditional mods and sub-ohm tanks allow for nearly endless tank and mod combinations, each pair allowing you their own unique cloud production and flavor experiences, not to mention the coil combinations and styles of the more advanced rebuildable atomizers. You get the idea. It also lowers the fun factor. A great way to describe freebase juices compared to nicotine salts is fashion over function. Again, think Ferrari versus smart car. Nicotine salts are the perfect choice if you need a strong dose of nicotine and prefer a more cigarette-like experience. So, are nicotine salts right for you? This is where things get tricky. And only you will know the answer. So, if you're deciding what to do, ask yourself the following questions. Am I a heavy smoker, 1 or more packs a day? Do I want a more genuine smoking experience, or am I looking for something new? Will I want smooth vapor and high nicotine? Do I need a stronger and more subtle nicotine punch or buzz? Is discretion important, or more massive clouds my thing? And how much money do I initially want to spend? These are just the guidelines. Starting off with a small device and using nicotine salts is a good approach, and you can always switch to high VG and lower nicotine sub-ohm setups when you wean yourself off and start to branch out. In fact, salt or no salt, it's better to grasp the basics with a simple vaporizer before navigating through the difficult types of coils, tanks, and settings. The safest bet is to ask a knowledgeable vape shop owner. Remember, he or she was once in the same boat, a smoker looking for the way out. So that concludes the Mist Hub's topic of what are nicotine salts, and as a beginner's guide to salt e-liquid. So taking away from that, we want to acknowledge that everything has its own place, and it's very accessible and customizable based on your needs and wants and what you're looking for to quit smoking. It has a wide variety of different choices to help you make informed decisions, and vape shop owners are always there to help you out and make the informed decision before you switch. Just like what my channel is designed to do, help you make informed decisions on what you buy before you buy it. That's why I review products, so you know what you're getting, how it works, and how well it works before you actually make that decision and buy. Vaping is one of the greatest ways to help switch from smoking and eventually quit. It is also one of the greatest forms of nicotine delivery systems without the risks of the thousands of chemicals that you'd get from cigarettes. And in the end, I think it has the potential to help a lot of people out. So what we want to take away from all this is that the right battery for the right device is important, and also the right kind of nicotine amount and delivery system, whether it be salt or freebase, is important as well. So we've covered the three of the biggest topics: which mod is right for you, four. Which mod is right for you, which juice is right for you, which kind of nicotine, freebase, or salt is right for you, and the kind of batteries, which one is better for the beginner or the professional. So that about wraps it up for Topic Tuesdays, guys. Tomorrow we'll be doing, it's Thursday. We're going to be doing Throwdown Thursdays and different flavors. We might talk about some new flavors that I've got. We'll try and blend it into a seamless video later on, and we'll try and do some newer things. And who knows, with Vapresso, we might have some new products to review soon enough. So thanks so much, guys, for checking out the channel. Be sure to like and subscribe. Be sure to leave your comments down in the crotch box. Make sure to ask any questions. I'm glad and more than happy to answer them. And also be sure to like and subscribe, ring that notification bell so you guys stay up to date with all the latest uploads from the VVR. And also be sure to check out Vapresso for their latest SKRR tank, or SKRR tank. It's a beautiful sub-ohm tank, and I really like it. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm really liking the look of it. I'm excited to see how well it vapes. So that about wraps it up. And I gotta ask, what was your first approach to vaping? Was it a pod system, or an e-cig or cig-alike, or something like this, like my big box mod, my Avenger? I definitely want to know. So leave your comments and in the crotch box, and we'll post this video on the Facebook page on Vapresso. A link to this video in my Facebook page, Visual Vapor Reviews, and we'll post this, of course, on the YouTube channel VVR. So until next time, as always, I'm your host Michael Cobb, and these have been the Visual Vapor Reviews. Thanks so much, guys. Peace.